whenever there's good things, bad things. And we're in the right position. We just don't make plays. We've been working on tackling just like every team in the country has been. When you lose 7 starters on defense and you replace them with a lot of inexperienced guys, it's not an excuse, but we got to make plays. We got to be able to make plays in the secondary, got to make plays at the linebacker position, and we got to be able to make plays up front, and we haven't. But everybody's in the right position, so that's good. But we just got to keep getting better. The whole message is grow, 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 and just keep getting better. That's all we're going to keep focusing on, is getting better. Offensively, I loved our poise, to be able to come back from being down, and then very disappointed in the outcome of 3 drives at the end where we couldn't finish it. So there's a lot of moments in that game that made us lose. It was not the extra point at the end. And I said that in my press conference. It's not Brock Walker's fault whatsoever. It was a lot of things led up to that. Got to give Maryland a lot of credit. Quarterback played really well. Got out of the pocket a lot. We let him get out of the pocket a lot. We didn't set the edge enough. But again, this year we knew that there would be some growing pains on the defensive side with a lot of younger guys playing and inexperienced guys playing in some key positions. You got 4 guys drafted in the National Football League, lose 7 starters, and I think 3 of those 4 guys are starting right now or playing in the National Football League. But we got a lot of talented guys behind it. Remember I said that. I said we got a lot of really good players. They're just inexperienced, and they're getting experience right now, especially in a season like COVID. With the COVID season, is you usually benefit from all that off-season work, but everybody's in the same boat right now, and we got to find a way to be better.
Let's go to Andy Greeter.
Hi, PJ.
Hi, Eddie.
I want you mentioned the 3 drives where you didn't finish it. I wanted to go back to with a minute left, 3rd and 2. Maryland kind of stacks the box. You guys stay with Mo. Can you walk us through kind of staying with that play and not going to something else at that juncture?
Yeah, that's my fault. 100% my fault. I think that's just simple as that. 100% my fault. So, we said that we're going to have to be able to find different ways to be able to maybe finish games. When you're up 17, running the football, we punt, they go right down the field in 2 plays, 1 play, 2 plays. And it's not like it's 7-8 play drives that are taking time off the clock and then they score. And I wanted to be able to keep the clock moving, thought we could get 2 yards. We couldn't. And again, that's 100% falls on me.
Let's go to Chip Scoggins.
Hey, PJ, the number of explosive runs that have happened the first couple of games, how do you clean that up? I mean, you talked a lot about tackling and guys being in the right position, but how do you limit that?
Hey, work on tackling, Chip. That's what we got to do. We got to work on tackling, and we have. We switched up the way we've kind of done our scout periods as well. But again, it's by doing it. It's by doing it. It's by doing it. And you lack all that. Of the off season, you don't have that. You do as much as you can in the modified training camp that you have. But I think everybody knew. Look around the country. I mean, look at the amount of points are being put up. It's a unique year, and if you have a veteran defense, you're probably going to benefit. We have inexperienced defense that we have to get better. And we have to just continue to get better. But if you look back even last year, I think our defense got better and better and better as we went. And I don't expect any difference of us getting better. Now, the explosive runs and plays, we're going to be rotating different guys with personnel. And we're going to be playing a lot more people. And that's the investment we're going to continue to make.
Ryan Burns, go ahead.
Hey, PJ.
Hey, Ryan.
After you watch the Maryland tape back, I'd be curious for your thoughts is what do you think is the easiest thing your defense can do this week to improve before Illinois?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just the way they play. They're playing really hard. But again, it's getting in the right spot, swarming to the ball, and not just one guy being the tackler, being able to be in my gap, dominate my gap, get off a block, get to the ball. I think that's going to be the biggest part is that if we don't have one guy that could bring it down, just hold on until the cavalry get there. But I think that's one thing that we need to be able to get better at.
Let's go to Meg Ryan.
Hi, PJ. How are you today?
I'm doing elite, Meg.
Good. Nice to hear that. I wanted to get your thoughts on, what do you make of what's happening at Illinois as far as the COVID situation and especially how it's affected their quarterbacks. And then I was kind of part two of that question is, what kind of communication is there between you, the Big Ten, your next opponent, about, if there's COVID cases that are, maybe they have an outbreak or maybe they've got a couple more, like how much is that kind of talk going around about how that might affect your potential next game?
Well, the Big Ten has policies in place, right? They've got the red, they've got the orange, they've got the green for a reason, and to keep a safe playing field for everybody. And so I don't think there needs to be conversation amongst each team because there's Big Ten conference rules that are put in place. And if somebody gets to a certain threshold, the game gets canceled. Discussions at that point happen. Are there positive cases going on in college football in the Big Ten with us? Sure. But there's certain protocols that we go through the Big Ten that allow us to be able to almost not be removed from it, but be able to follow a protocol through our medical staff, through our medical team, through the Big Ten guidelines. And we're just going to continue to follow those things.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Joe Schmidt.
Yeah, hi, PJ. The question I had was, you talked about this being a very inexperienced defense. Last year, your team really picked up confidence as the season went on. How can you take this inexperienced defense into a confident defense if they're just not quite doing it yet?
This is a very unique year. There's no excuses. Period. We want to win every single game. There are very unique circumstances, as we've talked about from day one, as our world has talked about from day one. And you see it every day in college football. There are no upsets because you just never know who's going to have certain players, what's going to show up, who's going to be out. Even with our specialist situation, who would have thought that? And it changes a lot of the things you do. But Joe, the simple thing is we just have to keep getting better. That is the number one message we continue to tell our football team. Whoever is on the field and whoever gets an opportunity to play benefits. And as I said before, I think my opening press conference a few weeks ago was, there's going to be certain things that not necessarily that you're choosing for the future, but things that you're doing now that are always going to help you for the future. And the investment into the amount of young kids that we're playing and inexperienced kids we're playing, that's beneficial. It's beneficial this year because they're going to get better. But the only way they're going to get better is if they go out and play. We're not going to sit here and protect them. They got to go out and play, right? And those guys have to grow up and grow up fast by playing. And that's what we're going to continue to do. Everybody has to be able to go through that at some point. We had an experienced defense. We got an experienced offense. There's opt-outs, there's injuries, there's COVID. There's all these things that are happening that change, the landscape of your football team every single week. No excuses. And we've got to find a way to be better for it. And the only way to be better for it, Joe, is we're going to continue to play everybody, continue to play as many people as we can, continue to get them experience, because the only way they're going to get better is if they play. There's so many guys out there who haven't played a lot before that when they go in there, if they make a mistake and I pull them out, well, if I sub them, then I'm subbing with another inexperienced guy, right? And you've got to allow them to fail to grow. And I know it's hard, but this is a developmental program, okay? And I've said this for a long time, that there's going to be seasons where, man, like last season, that season's over and done with, right? This is a completely different team, completely different circumstances. We're in a completely different time in our world, and everybody's affected by it somehow, some way. And like I said before, maybe the more experienced you are, the more you can get away with it, right? But if you're really inexperienced and you need that time in spring ball and you need that time in the summer and you need that time to develop your players, that can show. So how do you gain that experience? You gain it during the season. And then you do everything you can to keep things as simple as you can, put them in the right position to make plays, and then let them play.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go to
Great
Dave.
question though, Joe.
Associated Press, Dave Campbell.
Hey, PJ, as far as, so you've had one road game now in this new world of 2020. What do you think the staff and players might, have, what might benefit, I guess, coming this week after having gone through a round of it? And I guess the second part of the question is, what are you seeing as far as the road team being less of it at a disadvantage this year, without opposing fans in the stadium?
Yeah, I mean, we got to be able to play anywhere, and we'll play anytime, anywhere, any place. We've always preached that to our players, whether that's home, whether that's away. You get so many games, and they all matter, and it's really important no matter where you play. It's unique wherever you play, home or away, with no fans. Everybody does it a little bit differently, but I think the travel has been a little bit unique. We're traveling guys who have never traveled before, which is really good. We're bringing young guys on the traveling trip, so again, helps them now, helps them into the future. We do everything as football to bring everybody together. And it's a unique year because what you're doing, what makes our program and our culture so strong is how close our team is. And there's so many things, when you're eating dinner and you're having your night meal and you're having your night meeting, everybody's 6 feet apart. It's like a classroom setting that goes, 200 feet deep. Not everybody's in an intimate part. It's amazing of how people have to eat and where they're set. That's unique. Where they enter, where they exit, everything's thought out. And before there's such a routine, everything that the routine is a broken routine, even when you travel. So even the experienced guys, when you travel, we're setting everybody up. To be able to have a positive travel environment and a safe travel environment. But we do videos, which we've never really done a lot before, but videos prior to going there of what the hotel looks like, where to enter, how to be able to, what the room's going to look like. So they're not shocked because it's so unique and so different. Where are the buffet lines? Here's what happens when you get in the buffet line. Here's who's going to be serving your food. Here's how they're going to serve your food. So everything that used to be maybe taken for granted and just kind of happened in our world, everything's looked at and everything is prepped for. Because we don't want them to be shocked and surprised when they get there of how different it really is.
And let's go back to Meg at the Star Tribune.
PJ, I was hoping you could kind of take me through what you think of Joe Rossi and his evolution as defensive coordinator. I know he's been with you for a couple of years, but obviously you took over in the interim, and then he had last year, which was really successful. And given everything that's happened this year, I guess I was wondering, how do you think that he's really progressed in that job? And maybe what things do you like that he's doing, and what things do you think are still need to be improved?
Well, first of all, I think Joe Rossi is an unbelievable coordinator. I think he's one of the best football coaches I've ever been around. X's and O's, the way he teaches, the way he demands, the way he cares, the way he loves his players, the way players love him. It's a challenge. We knew that from the start. I've said this I said this since March, how much of a challenge it would be defensively because of how many inexperienced players we were going to be able to have. And it was going to be a challenge in a normal season, right? Let alone what's going on. But their effort is unbelievable. They're in the right position. And eventually those guys are going to make the plays. And I said before, we have a very talented defense. There's a lot of talented players out there, really skillful, but they just haven't played enough to be really good yet. I always go back to Kamal Martin. Kamal Martin started for the Green Bay Packers yesterday. Well, Kamal Martin a few years ago, if you'd like to come, I'll show you, some tackling drills where Kamal, he couldn't play tag. He wouldn't tag the guy. Couldn't even find a way to get him, let alone now he's starting for the Green Bay Packers. It's the development of that to become a better football player. And right now our players have to develop in a game on the field, like a lot of people do right now. And again, I think Joe is a tremendous coordinator. And again, like I said, I'd evaluate scheme. If there was a schematic issue, I would let you know. If there was a fundamental issue, I'll tell you. If there's a personnel issue, I'll tell you. And that's how I do every single game with every coordinator and every play that's called. What's the issue with it? And what was the success of it? Because just because a play works doesn't mean it was executed, right? And just because a play doesn't work doesn't mean it wasn't executed, right? So, but I think he's one of the best teachers I've ever been around. And it's one of those unique years. And we're all going to learn from this. We're all learning from this. We're 2 games into this thing. And it's like we're 2 games into it, but it's getting close to the middle of the season already. It's happened so fast. And especially when we're going through what every team's going through with the COVID situation.
Let's go to Chip Scoggins.
Hey, PJ, I was curious, with the NCAA giving that extra year of eligibility, how do you approach, I don't know how many guys are going to take advantage of it, but in terms of just roster construction, guys coming in next year and trying to make it all work.
That's a great question, Chip. We hope all of our seniors come back. We've said that to them. We've offered that to them. We don't have a lot of seniors to begin with. There's not many guys at all. but there are a lot of guys who have an opportunity to come back, and we'd love to have them come back. I think the number of how many people are going to be allowed to come back is up to our administration and up to Mark Coyle of what we're going to be allowed, if we're allowed numbers over the 85. We've kept our recruiting numbers pretty low. I guess I say low because we've taken classes of 25 every single year, right around that number. Right now, commitment wise, we're lower than that to make sure that we can get everybody to fit. But again, that's an administrative question as we get towards the end of the year, but that's going to be for everyone of how many scholarships they allow to have over for football, if they allow it to be over, and everybody's going to be able to do it probably their own institutional way.
All right, we'll take two more. We'll go to Ryan Burns and then Daniel House. So Ryan, go ahead, and then Daniel, you have the last question.
PJ, I'm curious, with hindsight being 2020, do you wish you would have given Trayson Potts more reps to alleviate the 41 carries that Mo had on Friday night?
Well, hindsight, we could sit there and have a 12-hour conversation about hindsight, right?
Right.
I think that's hard, right? That's always the Monday morning press conferences, the hindsight stuff, which I enjoy because that's part of how you learn. I think that we have two really good running backs right behind Mohamed Ibrahim. I think they're two really good players. I think they both earned opportunities, and I think you're going to see them both more. So I make decisions, Ryan, with every bit of information that I have in front of me. I never just make a decision on a whim. All the information, how the game's going, what the feel of the team is, where we're at, what it looks like, what do we have to do to win the game? And I evaluate all that. Then I make the best decision I possibly can with the information given. When the game's over, you always go back and evaluate how you could have been better. What could you do more? Maybe not in that game, but moving forward, if I'm put in that position again, or to make our team better, what would I do? Because the regret, I don't live in that world because it's over, done with, made a decision that was best for it, and you move on. And you gain and embrace your past to create your future. You don't stay back there. But I think we have two really good running backs that are freshmen, two really good players, and Mohamed is Mohamed. So you're going to see a little bit more of a rotation amongst them because I think Trey and I think Cam have earned the right to be able to have more reps. But every rep they have, 24 is not on the field, and I think he's one of the best backs in the country. Now, the 40-some carries, I would have loved to be able to win that game with 40-some carries, and it might have been looked like it was worth it. But like I said, it's always evolving.
Daniel House, last question belongs to you.
PJ, the O-line currently ranks 13th in line yards per rush. What do you think's been contributing to the unit zone blocking success?
It goes back to experience. They're an experienced group, and we don't have a bunch of starters up there from last year that for multiple reasons, right? And Axel got hurt last game, and we'll see if he's back. But that's basically the two to the right side plus another starter from this year, and we're getting deeper at the O-line. But what I love about them is their congruency, their connection, the one that they play together as one. That is a tough group up front, and they're only getting tougher, right? And like I said, with the seniors coming back, like I love where we are. Ariante Ursher, you guys haven't even seen this guy play yet, but this guy is going to be an absolute stud. And again, this is a developmental program. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, and again, I say the lows are more like learning opportunities. And if you look at the programs that have been in our league that have the cultural sustainability over a long period of time, there's really good seasons and there's tough learning seasons. And this season's different. I mean, there's 8+1. It's all conference, rile the shoot and go. And you get so many weeks to develop. But I think the O-line is doing a great job. But I think what's making them successful is not just, their ability to be good. It's the experience they've had together playing with each other. They're not learning as much, they're mastering. And when you look at the positions we're having success in, that's the positions that have played a lot of football. And in a year like this, when the positions that haven't played a lot of football, that's hard to have a lot of success. But that's where you got to find a way to make up for it. That's what I mean, that you're gonna have to find other ways to win games. And we've got two games of data, guys. And ladies and Meg, that we have 2 games of data, and that data has given us how this football team can win, right? And it's maybe different than last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago or next year or 2 years from now. And so you're constantly seeing what your team can do and can't do. And usually you have a better grasp of that, of exactly how they're going to win games. Because you have that off season, just like everybody does. But when you lack that experience, that can be challenging at times. But it's our challenge, and we're taking it face on. And the guys had a tremendous practice today, and we're looking forward to the next opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, everybody. Row the boat, Sky
Thanks,
Michael
PJ.
Gophers. Thanks.
Thanks, PJ.